Hey everyone, and welcome to the FasCat podcast. I guess your hosts for today will be Coach Jake and Coach Christian. We will be your hosts for our special Father's Day podcast. I'll be the wily veteran on this one, as between my wife and I, we have 5 kids. Christian will be the naive soon to be new dad. However, he will be cutting his deficit to me in half in one go. How excited about that! But how will we stay fit? Will they experience the phenomenon of DadWatts? We will get into all of that along with some stories of how our dads brought us into cycling or supported us along the way. And then to finish, maybe some last minute ideas of what to get dad for Father's Day. First of all, congrats, Coach Christian, on all the exciting news. Can you fill us in?
Yeah, thanks, Jake. Almost happy Father's Day to you and all the dads out here listening to this. I will be joining all of you, getting my dad watts as I will be having twins in a few months. So I will have my hands full and see if I can practice what I preach.
You will.
Yeah, do some Zwifting. Have to renew my indoor training credentials. Haven't done that in a little while. And yes, if I can practice what I preach and do some short, time effective workouts and stay fit while I am a new father.
That is awesome. And let's not leave out Coach Isaiah, who will officially become a new father at any moment. We are waiting on that email.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out to Coach Isaiah. He'll be joining you in the DadWatts Club sooner than I will. And yeah, it's cool. We also have Coach Ali, who's in the Mom Club for the second time recently. So yeah, lots of FasCat babies.
A lot of basket, a lot of maybe competitions between the kids in a few years here.
That's right. I think I've got twins, so I've got two teammates. So bring it on, Isaiah. Bring it on, Ali. I think mine are going to take y'all's, but we'll have to see about that in 15 years or so.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, let's get into this podcast. So, how do you fit in all your training? And what the heck are dad wants? You have just become a new dad, and how will you get your training in? Well, lucky for you, new babies tend to sleep a lot. So, nap time becomes prime opportunities to sneak in your workout. Of course, there's an asterisk to this because, as the baby sleeps, some parents are told, you should sleep as the baby sleeps. And we'll talk about that. Now, and not now, as you get your training in as the baby naps, it might not be as long as you used to, but you can get in this very good, specific quality work. It's basically about getting on the bike, get your intervals in, and getting off the bike. Uh, which then brings us to dad watts. What are dad watts? Well, we always think of how does a dad get actually faster after having a kid? Well, part of this could be due because of the more structured training and more focused they are now with the limited time. So now they are putting in more quality work, even though the volume may be less. So that's kind of what I think of dad watts. I know everybody else has kind of their own opinion, so we can break that down. But let's start with as Christian brought up, he plans on to renewing that Zwift membership and spending more time indoors. So what are your plans?
Yeah, well, my plans are to do my best to stay on the bike at least a few days a week. I think that everyone I coach will have heard me say that it's way easier to maintain fitness than to gain fitness. So the name of the game for me is going to be maintenance, right? If I'm training 5 hours a week, I'm probably not going to get any fitter. But if I don't lose fitness, it's going to be a lot easier to get back outside and ride my bike and go on the group ride and things like that than if I just don't ride at all and lose all my fitness. So I know personally, I'm going to be doing a lot of indoor workouts, probably almost exclusively indoor workouts, since as I mentioned, I'm going to have twins. So not gonna ask my wife to take care of twins by herself in the beginning. So I'll just be on Zwift where I can always be there to lend a helping hand. And even though I always write my own workouts, I think I'm probably gonna use a lot the FasCat app. I'm gonna lean a lot on Optimize and let that help me out in a few ways. One, to look at my optimized numbers and kind of make a decision each day on what kind of workouts I can do. So decide if I'm going to do an easy workout, a medium workout, or a hard workout based on how I slept and how I'm feeling and how I'm handling everything. And then just like remove the decision fatigue of having to decide what I'm going to do and just, write CoachCat, say, hey, give me a 1 hour workout for today. I want to do some sweet spot and boom, get a 1 hour workout, jump on the trainer and go. So that's kind of my plan. You've gone through it before. What is your advice? Do you think that's good advice for a new parent?
Yeah. So back when I was a parent for a while there, I was, divorced and everything. So we had single parent. So I spent a lot of time training indoors. We had 3 kids. Most of them were under age 8. So I mean, I couldn't get outside. So thank God for Zwift, I say at least, because before with just the rollers or trainer staring at a wall is not as fun. So yeah, I think going this Zwift route is great because yeah, you're right. Because you can always be, you can get on your bike sooner, especially like during the winter. Because I feel like a lot of time is spent just getting dressed, undressed. So you really cut that time out. You could just have your bike on a trainer, ready to go, get on your bike, get off your bike, and you're ready to help. If the baby needs something, mom needs something, somebody needs something. So the trainer can be very, very good for you. Uh, and then, yeah, as you say, it's important to probably use each day differently just because you don't know how you might have slept the night before. So following a plan can be more difficult because it might have been a night when you were up 3 or 4 hours through the night. And then trying to do threshold intervals might be a challenge. So, like you say, you can pull up your app, the FasCat app. You can look at your optimized score for the day, see how your sleep was, look at your HRV, and maybe Coach Cat does say just do his own 2 day, and then maybe the next night you were able to get more sleep and you feel more rested, and then you do get the workout to do something more hard like the threshold workout. So yeah, I think it's good to take it day to day as a new father because every kid's going to be different, every baby's different. You're going to have twins, so they could be the opposite schedule, so that could be completely different. But yeah, I think it's important and not to stress yourself too much. But I really love how you brought up the point of it's a lot easier maintaining fitness and building it up. I was told that 10 years ago. And yes, I have lost some fitness since that time because I did step away at times. But I mean, they're right. If you could just do those 45-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute workouts a couple times a week, you will maintain a pretty good level of fitness and you're not just starting from zero. So yeah, try to stay on it. I think that becomes very important.
Yeah, and well, one thing we should mention too is that this is great advice for new parents, for new dads, for new moms, for all new parents. And then also, really, for anyone listening who maybe isn't getting ready to celebrate Father's Day, but is just super busy, right? Really busy period at work, maybe doing a residency, maybe working the night shift. Just doing anything where your schedule is really whacked out, and you're just trying to tread water from a training point of view through it. Another thing you and I talked about offline that we can touch on is that really short workouts can be pretty effective for people. That's probably going to be what I'm going for kind of the first 3 to 6 months, maybe even the first year. But somewhere along the line, people got this idea that anything less than an hour, anything less than 90 minutes was worthless, right? The thing that you and I talked about is how people will say like, "Oh, I'm going to go for a run because I don't have enough time for a ride," as if there's something that keeps a 30-minute session or a 45-minute session from doing anything for you. It's really not the case. And you mentioned that that's something you do a lot with your athletes who are on vacation, but that's something that I'm going to do as a new parent is do a lot of 30 and 45-minute sessions. Can you talk about how you use those?
Yeah, so a lot of times, like I was thinking of the vacation thing when I have athletes go on vacation. Usually, there's like a hotel bike in a gym that's 80 degrees, no fan, and they're sweating buckets in 3 minutes. So it's all about just let's get on the bike, let's warm up 5-10 minutes, and then hit some short, high intense intervals to get the most of that time. 30 seconds on, 1 minute off, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, like that. Especially when I was thinking vacation, hotel bikes, no power meters, heart rate's probably out of whack because of how hard it is. So like not thinking and then just going full gas because that's easy to think about. Just go hard and then rest. But anyways, yeah, it's just about maximizing that 30 or 40-minute workout. I think again, offline, you were mentioning about you used to do some Swift racing without warming up. I mean, I've been in the same boat. You're like, oh, I have time to ride. Let me look at the events, and by the time I get my stuff together, like it's starting. So no warm up, get up, go hard. It's possible. So it's just kind of you just got to be flexible with it and just make the most of those short workouts.
Yeah, I think that flexibility is key. Like you mentioned, I was talking about doing Zwift races and exactly what you say. You jump on the trainer, you see a race, there's a bunch of people signed up. You're like, "Oh, I'll do that." You realize it's starting in 3 minutes. And so you spin at 150 watts for 3 minutes and then you go straight into a big effort. Of course, it's not very comfortable, but you can do it. And with a workout, it's a little bit easier because it doesn't start as hard as a Zwift race. So most of the FasCat 1 hour workouts that you'll find in our training plans or in the app or whatever, if you are willing to do a really short warm up and almost no cooldown, you can smash them into 40, 45 minutes. I see a lot of those in my future just because if I am going to ride for 40 minutes, I know it has to have some intensity and I know it has to have some oomph to it so that I really get a workout in a short amount of time. But I got pretty fit off 45-minute workouts during the pandemic. Where I live, we were forced inside for quite a long period, and I don't like the trainer much. And so, yeah, I did a lot of short warm up, 30 to 40 minute Zwift race, basically no cool down. And yeah, I think I'm gonna try a little bit of that. So we'll see how it goes. I'll report back to everybody.
And it
But
Yeah, and as Frank says, consistency is the new FTFP. So, like, I think Christian would say this, like, and I say this to my athletes all the time. It's like uh, 5 short 45 minute, 60-minute workouts are better than one long one on the weekend. So that consistency can go a long ways to helping you be better. So,
mm,
yeah, even if it's just 30 minutes, get on the bike, do some kind of intervals, and call it a day if that's all you have time for. And it just gets you in habit and it keeps you rolling and the momentum kind of thing. So you can build off of it, hopefully.
yeah, and it's
And like he says, like you get a lot out of the 1 hour workout. So if you're somebody that does want to follow one of our plans, there is nothing wrong with our basic plans. I've actually used the basic plans in the winter because all my time is on the trainer. So I'm doing 1 hour max during the weekend. 2 hours, maybe three on a weekend at tops. So that basic plan really fits the need of shorter volume more so than just say a beginner plan. You still have the hard intervals, you still have all the work you would do, just in a shorter time crunch time frame. So, and again, like Christian says, you could take out some of that zone 2 time. If you don't even have an hour, you just have 45 minutes. Get that 45 minutes in. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So so I have a lot of different things that I have done or I've done with people I coach. So I'll just start rambling through a few of these. So I think the one thing that has really taken off so far is having Sundays as the off day. I think, a lot of people try to use these weekends to put in the big volumes, but as a dad, if you're walking away for, 9, 8, 9, 10 hours on a weekend, it becomes too much for the family for you to be away that much. So usually like taking that Sunday off to have family day. And this is time when you can do stuff with the kids, with the wife. Uh, yeah, and this just means Monday now instead of an off day becomes your Tuesday. So you do your intervals on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, and then your weekend rides become Friday, Saturday kind of. So maybe it's not quite the same volume you'll be able to get, but you still, again, you'll get the quality work, and then you do get that family day on Sundays, which a lot of people seem to appreciate, not just dads, but also kids and the moms. So I think that's a good adjustment that we have made. Um, I know Christian just mentioned 5 a.m. group rides. Like that's the other thing is starting your rides early on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, so that way you're back, 10 a.m. when everybody's getting up and starting the day. It does make it a very long day for a dad, especially if you're going off to our baseball games, family functions, or anything else. But I think a lot of that you can set yourself up for success is how early you get to bed the night before. Um, I knew a group of new dads who used to do like 4 a.m. rides or even midnight centuries to get in their work. So I always feel like if you really wanted to do something, you'll find a way to get it done. Um, the other thing I've been doing a lot recently is all my kids are in, sports, baseball and softball season, which this spring. You drive into practice, you have your bike in the car, you have your kid on underneath your clothes, and as soon as they start their practice, especially if they're older, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they don't mind if you're not there. So you just kind of, go out, do your quick 60-minute workout while they're at their practice. So, I'll take the kids to practice and also get a ride in. So, you accomplish two things at one time. So that's another way of fitting in your workout. Um, and I guess I got one more thing, so the other way I've been able to get workouts in is riding to family functions. I know if we went like camping or spend the day at the lake, or there's Easter, Christmas, whatever, you kind of help out in the morning, get everybody ready to go. But, if it's 40, 50, 60 miles away, hop on your bike. It's a great way to get in, again, getting your workout, traveling, going somewhere is I always like point A to point B. So you just, you ride there, you get that workout in. I always found that to be a good way to get that success in. So those are a few tips that I've used. I don't know if Christian, if you coach any dads or had some others come up or any other ideas. Well, it looks like Coach Christian is gone. So I know he's been having internet issues today. So I'm just going to continue this podcast on my own and we'll see how that goes. So, anyways, back to that. I know that's what we brought up with some ways to get your workouts in. We talked about a lot of indoor riding. I guess it's time for a story time. I could bring up a story. Back when I was young and racing on a pro team, we stayed at a team director's house. His name was John Worson. We stayed at his house between these two big races in Virginia in 2007. One was the U.S. Open Cycling Challenge. That was actually raced on what would be used as the World's Course in Richmond in 2015, I believe, and then the Tour of Virginia. Anyways, I remember staying at his house, getting up, not seeing him when I woke up because he was off to work. I would do my 4 to 5 hour bike ride, have lunch, take a nap, maybe watch some TV, all before he got home. The moment he got home, he started helping with dinner, played with the kids. Then he watched Survivor or some show with his wife at night. Then around 9:30, as I was getting ready for bed, he was hopping on his trainer. Mind you, this was pre-Zwift, so he was just staring at a wall in the basement. I thought to myself, I could never imagine doing that. 2 kids later, after stepping aside for pro racing, I myself found myself there. So you do whatever it takes when you really want to have something. So if you want it, you can find a way to get it done. And Christian's back. Yeah. So Christian, I was just, telling a story about a team director, and he was a dad. I was a young racer, and as a young racer, I couldn't envision doing what he was doing. But then, 17 years later, here I am doing what he was doing. So, if you want to do something and you want to accomplish goals, you can find the time. My wife always tells me everybody has the same 24 hours a day. So it's just about how you maximize your time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and happy to be back. Had a little technical issue, but I think that there are a lot of really interesting practical ideas to how to get in time and ideas that you and I have discussed. I really like the Sundays off, even though sometimes it means people ride less. I just find that people are more consistent. If you can get in a big ride on Saturday, sometimes you're tired for that Sunday ride anyway, and it's not the most productive ride. So you can shift riding to Friday. And more, there's people who maybe they work from home and they're a little bit flexible, or their employer doesn't mind if they leave a little bit early on Friday. And so sometimes, I coach a few people who do Friday, Saturday training and can even get in pretty long rides on Friday. So they can do, 3 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that on Friday. They do their long ride on Saturday, and then they just never ride Sundays. And it's so nice because it just removes a big stress from their schedule. And if they get in 95% of their workouts and their week on paper is 2 hours less, that's way better than getting in 80% of your workouts. And we wrote that you were going to do 14 hours, but actually you really only do 12, right? And so
Right.
that's been a big win for me. Training during kids' school practices or sports practices and things like that is a really good one. I know some people who are lucky enough to have mountain bike trails right next to where their kids have soccer practice. And so they get to sneak in a good ride on the mountain bike while the kids are at soccer practice. So there's lots of things you can do to look for that bonus time. And then, yeah, when all else fails, just wake up and get your workout done in the morning. Um,
Right.
we can debate if it's better to do it in the morning or late at night, but hey, as long as they're getting done, I think that's
Uh-huh.
what matters.
I, I
Any
just I actually just I just noticed one of my athletes was getting stuff done at midnight. He was like, for a while there, he was complaining that his workouts weren't showing up on Zwift, and I was like, that's really crazy. So I started looking at what time he started his rides at, and I was like, oh, it looks like you started at 11:30 at night. I'm not sure if it's still there at that time of night. So I mean, we had a conversation about maybe finding a better time to train than midnight so you could get some sleep as well. But you're right. Whether you get it done, 5 a.m. or 10 p.m., it's just good that you're getting it done.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Any other creative ideas for dads and parents to get in their workouts?
Uh, that's kind of what I had. But yeah, like you talked about, I think the big thing is, I think we talk about this on a lot of podcasts with, I think it's best habits for master cyclists and all this other stuff is really just having a plan in place. Like if you know you're going to have to ride the trainer, it's like having your bike on the trainer the night before, having water bottles filled up. If you're going to be riding outdoors, having the clothes that you're going to need to wear or the kit, like kind of set aside, shoes, helmet, everything just ready to go. Tires are pumped up, like bottles filled, and just really being ready to fit that workout in and making sure you know what you're going to eat before, what you're going to eat after. We talk about meal prep, like all these little details that you could have just to shorten any like prep time and post time of this ride really helps you be more successful and get more time actually riding as opposed to getting ready. So I guess that would be my big last takeaway of that.
Yeah. And I think my final one for anyone who's busy, but especially parents for the off season, is have home gym equipment. I think that
Yeah.
getting in your gym work is 1,000 times easier when you're a parent if you have home gym equipment, because first of all, just like with Zwift, it's really time efficient and you don't have to leave the house. So you can keep an eye on things, you can keep an eye on kids, you can uh, get in your workout without having to do a commute, you can smash it into a short amount of time. But also, especially with gym work, you can kind of multitask, right? Like when you're in that heavy phase of your gym training and you're resting a long time between sets because you're lifting really heavy, not that it's ideal. In an ideal world you'd be 100% focused on the workout, but if what you need to do to get the workout in is do a set of squats and then go throw some laundry in the laundry machine and start it and take some clothes out of the dryer and throw them in a hamper, why not? And I know when I've had a home gym that was in my sort of garage bike room area, I would do a lot of gym sessions where I would kind of multitask and I could get some gym work done, but I could also clean my bike. I could throw some oil on the chain. I could do some basic maintenance. And I think that's a big one for parents.
Nice. Yeah, I like that one. That's really good. Yeah. It's a lot. And then, the gym thing is like the travel time to and from. Like, again, like sometimes that's going to hinder people from going. But if it's all right there, So it kind of takes away that excuse in that time. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
I even coached people who did their gym work during the commercials on TV. They would run outside and do a set of squats and then come back in and keep watching TV.
nice. Well, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, well,
Uh,
there's a way.
that's what we were saying. Yeah. So I guess we'll move on. That's some of our tips. I think a lot of us want to, pay homage to our dads and share quick stories of how they got us into cyclists and supported us on our cycling journey. Coach Christian and I can share ours right here, but we also have a few clips that we'll add in from the other FasCats. But I guess I'll get it started. I said, my dad got me into cycling when he found cycling in his late 30s. I remember my first real bike ride. Me, my dad, and my brothers all went for this probably 15-mile bike ride out to the bay. We lived in Michigan, so out by the water. I remember I was on my mom's Schwinn road bike that had the drop top tube. I thought it was so cool. Like, I don't know. I just, in that instance, I couldn't believe we rode that far, that it was that fast. Like, I was just hooked. So for that Christmas, we got our first real mountain bikes. They were Fuji Odessas. Still remember it was a blue color. Mine ended up getting stolen, unfortunately, but my dad replaced it with a Fuji Ace road bike, and I fell in love with that. I think road biking is, yeah, it's what I really loved. So the mountain bike was cool, but it was the road biking and the road racing, which I really like. So we went camping that summer, and I remember bombing some trails on my road bike, and I don't know, being underbiked, I was hooked. So road cycling was where my love was. My teens and reality early 20s were filled with my dad taking us to races, doing rides, joining a local junior club, and just traveling the country. Everybody always asks how I know my directions so well. It's because it's from when traveling to these races with my dad before these GPSs, before smartphones. I would sit there and stare at atlases and God, and be the little navigator. So yeah, he took us to all the races. I think the joke used to be that we were junior pros. I mean, I was not good at all as a junior, but like I had more than any other junior who was good had because I had the sponsorship of my parents, and it's something I always thank them for. And they helped get me set up to go to Marion University, on the cycling scholarship. But obviously they still paid for some of that schooling, so which was a fantastic opportunity that set me up to where I am today. So yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of us who got into cycling young, we wouldn't have gotten very far in the sport if it weren't for our parents. Both parents in this case, we're thanking our dad since it's Father's Day. But yeah, it's really
Absolutely, both parents, but yeah.
yeah, it's really incredible how much a lot of us got help from our parents and got support from our parents in what is a tough sport. It's a tough sport
Yes.
for parents. It's expensive. There's a lot of travel. It's also dangerous, so it's a little scary as a parent. There's not easy having a kid who's a bike racer.
My
I have a
brother broke his arm. My brother broke his arm twice between the ages of 12 and 17. And I think after the second time he had enough of bike racing, and I don't blame him. But yeah, I could only so now as a parent on the other end of that, I just I couldn't imagine how they were feeling though. As a kid, you're like, whatever, I'll heal, I'll be fine. But as a parent, you're like, oof, scary. Yeah, to go out. And then, as a parent to like your kid is like gonna go out there and go do a 30, 40-mile bike ride. You're like, and this was before cell phones, so you just I hope they come back. Like, couldn't imagine that. So, but I appreciate that they trusted me and let me out there, and it was great. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do have one story. I have a million stories about my dad because he's the one who got me into cycling and took me mountain biking and then took me to races. But the the story that popped to mind first is my first road race. I was 13 or 14. I can't remember exactly. And I got my first drop bar bike. So I got a steel Surly cyclocross bike. It had bar and shifters. It didn't even have STI shifters. And I used to ride that around on dirt roads. Like all cyclists, I think that I didn't gravel before it was cool. We all think that about ourselves. Um, And so I had this bike and I signed up for a Cat 4-5 crit because I'd done some mountain bike races and I saw there was a Cat 4-5 crit near my mom's house. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try it. And my dad, who lived pretty far away, a couple hours away at the time, found out and panicked because I didn't have a proper road bike. I'd never ridden a road race and I'd never even done a group ride. And my dad had raced a little bit and he was like, whoa, crits are pretty scary. You know, I don't know if the first time he ever rides in a Peloton should be in a Cat 4-5 crit. So he drove 4 hours to the race to meet me at the race so that he could do the race with me. And he tells me, I'm just going to follow you. I'll just sit in the back of the field, try to get comfortable, see what happens. We start the race. I got dropped in about 5 minutes. My dad rode in the wind with me on his wheel until we got pulled because we were going to get lapped. And then he jumped in the car and drove 4 hours home.
That's great.
And I don't think he's ever complained about it. I don't think he's ever like told the story as like, oh, I can't believe you made me do this or anything. He just came, showed up, watched me get dropped, and then went home. And
That's awesome.
That was so yeah, he did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 8 hours of driving for about 5 minutes of bike racing, which was probably.
But he was there to support. That's amazing.
He was there.
Yeah.
And then eventually I didn't get dropped after 5 minutes and it got a little better. So.
And once you have your kids, officially, you understand why. Like I tell my kids, like, I'll do anything as long as you try. Like if they put in, so it sounds like you tried, you put the effort, you're putting the effort in. As long as you're doing that, like, let's do it. So
exactly. Yeah. And even if the race went terrible, and even if there were a few other races in the beginning that went terrible, I think that he was always happy as long as I was trying my best. And that day, my best just wasn't very good. But
it's all right. My dad always jokes. He goes, you know, when you started first riding, I never tried to drop you. I never tried to. He goes, the moment you got better than me, that's all you tried to do is drop me. And at the time, I was like, yeah, but I was fun. But now I'm like, yeah, it was kind of a dick move. But it's kind of funny how he jokes about it now. Like, but yeah, it's fun that he still rides too. So we still do stuff together and some adventure riding. But yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So I would guess we can hear from the other FasCats now and let them fill in about their dad stories.
Happy Father's Day, FasCats. Wishing you a lot of DadWatts this year and a small tribute to my dad, who unfortunately passed away this year, but he was always supportive of my cycling. 25 years ago, I wrote him a letter explaining how I could turn professional if he helped me buy an SRM power meter, and he supported me and my goals always, and we did buy that SRM power meter, and that's how FasCat got started. So shout out to all the dads out there. Again, wishing you a lot of DadWatts. Happy Father's Day.
Hey guys, Coach Elliott here. We want to wish all those FasCat dads a happy Father's Day and sending you lots of DadWatts. I want to send a quick thanks to my dad because he's always been super supportive of my cycling career, whether it's traveling across the country for bike races or standing in countless feed zones and who knows what weather. It could be 20 degrees and snowing, or it could be 100 degrees. So happy Father's Day, Dad, and hope you're ready for action here again next weekend because I'm throwing you back in at BWR North Carolina. Thanks.
Happy Father's Day to all you FasCat dads out there. Hope you have a great weekend with your family and friends and enjoy some time out on the bike on Sunday. A special shout out to my dad who helped me immensely by getting me my first road bike. It was a surprise when I just offhandedly mentioned, oh yeah, I think I want to get into triathlon at UCLA. And the following week he surprised me with a Fuji SST, and that was the start of a great relationship with bikes and an even better one with my dad. He's still my favorite ride buddy, and we have a lot of good stories together because of it. All right, well, love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all you FasCats out there as well.
Happy Father's Day to all the FasCat dads and the newly FasCat dad, Isaiah. Special happy Father's Day to you. And a special happy Father's Day to my dad, too, also known as Downhill Jeff. Thanks for shredding with me at Windrock and supporting me at all these fun races.
Wow, great stories and memories. I guess we can all thank our dads for helping us out and getting us started. And most of us probably wouldn't be here without our dad's help and our parents. So we definitely want to shout out to them and thank them.
Yeah, I know that in my case, my dad's been a huge influence on my cycling. It was cool to hear from some of the other FasCat coaches, from you, Jake, and then everybody who made their recordings, because it's maybe not universal, but it's definitely pretty common. A lot of us owe our passion and love for cycling to our fathers, and that's really cool to share.
Nice. Awesome. Well, hey now, so it's Father's Day weekend. Probably a little late to do that shopping, but I guess there's always Christmas and birthdays or anything else where you can talk about how we want to thank Dad with maybe some gifts here. So here's kind of a FasCat Father's Day gift guide. First, we'll bring up what FasCat offers as some gifts. Obviously we have the app. You could get a yearly subscription or, just month to month as well. But with that subscription, you get a free Whoop for a month offer, 20% off Castatelli clothing, 10% off Hammerhead. The first month is free. And we also currently do have a free one-on-one coaching consultation promo. So if that dad wants to take on a big event, say it's Unbound, Steamboat, Leadville, and you want to help them succeed as much as possible, you can get them this one-on-one coaching, have them call one of us coaches and talk to us about what we provide and how we can help them reach their goals. So that's free currently with our promo, so check that out. Some other things, so examples of maybe what I would want as a gift. I would like for my oldest daughter to do a 15 to 20 mile bike ride with me. She's 14. I kind of joke about it with her quite often. And we did a video, as you probably have seen, with her riding. I thought it'd be so cool to go ride with her sometime, but that's never going to happen. So I guess a gift would be a continued subscription to Flow HBO Max, so I can watch most of those bike races, which are awesome. Some of us aren't in France like Christian here, so we don't have those ready available. So subscription to those apps to watch the bike racing. Maybe a little more pipe dream, maybe something like an Insta360 camera to get all the video of the cool rides. And if I ever jumped into a race again, get some footage of that or, whatever. So I thought that'd be cool. Maybe Christian, do you have something different idea, something you would like?
Yeah,
or be a good gift?
I would love, a subscription to some indoor training services, since I think I'm going to need that. I've always been a Zwift person, so a Zwift subscription. But if anybody wanted to hook me up with another platform, a competitor, let me test it out, see if there's anything out there that's cool, I'd be happy to do that. And I could use a new pair of tires on my gravel bike. Just
there you go.
But,
and I think
a dad yet, so I don't know if I get Father's Day gifts.
Not yet.
You veterans situation.
Yeah. And then, so another gift too, I know as a dad, if say, there's an event they want to do, register them for that and say, hey, let's go there on that week and spend a weekend there. And you could do your event and maybe we stay a couple days longer. That would be a fantastic gift. Yeah, so that's good. And I think dads too, I don't know, for me, I said, ride with my daughter, but it's true, an experience. I think most of us are pretty good about getting what we need most of the time, maybe more than we should, but I think experiences are great an experience with your family or kids or something you can all do together is, more than enough. So, Big Cat wanted to fill in. If his kids are listening, I know he's got some daughters there and 2 other kids, but if they're listening, I know Big Cat wants a new road bike, 4 to 6K with a power meter and an extra 25 watts. So yeah, sounds like that would be an amazing gift. Yeah, if you want those extra 25 watts, I know Coach Christian or I could coach you, or you could just buy a Stages power meter.
we would be happy if you're listening to this to do the free 30-minute consultation with you. So yeah, we'll find you those 25 watts. We will leave the new road bike to your children if they are listening to this podcast and feeling generous. So yeah, shout out to the big cat.
Yeah.
I would also love it.
You deserve it, man.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
He does. He's the hardest working man in show business. He deserves it.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but lots of ideas for the fathers in your life. I really like the idea of a weekend away with like an event and then also a little bit of family time, like a Saturday race and then a Sunday go for a hike, maybe find a cool place to eat, something like that, a weekend where there's a race Saturday morning, but then you have the rest of the weekend to spend with the family. That's a great weekend.
I should have probably
dads will love that.
I should have probably filled that in when we were talking about that earlier, but yeah, I've actually had a lot of athletes doing that recently where they will do like a vacation. Let's say they're going to race in Steamboat, but then they stay there. They go there on Friday, race on Sunday, and then they make a week of it family vacation right after. So then dad gets his event in. Dad doesn't have to train. Dad can take a week basically off and rest from that race, and he gets to spend time with the family vacation. So yeah, it's kind of a good way to go do about that. So maybe as a dad, you can find yourself a fun race to do in a fun location and kind of have that as your goal. And then, but also bring up with the family, like, hey, once I do this, we're in this place, let's have a vacation. So yeah, I think that's a good compromise, or kind of fits for everyone.
It's a good idea for next year.
Yes. So exactly. Yeah. So maybe you don't have time to plan that this year, but you can plan that for next year. So, but yeah, awesome. Well, thanks to all those followers, and shout outs to the new soon-to-be followers, especially our own Coach Isaiah and Coach Christian. And then I don't want to leave out Allie as well, because I don't think we did much on Mother's Day. But congrats to all the parents out there, and thanks for helping us and be the people we are today. And obviously, as a father myself now, I do that for my kids, and kind of pass it along to them. So thanks for joining us today, Coach Christian, on this podcast.
It was fun.
So I guess that kind of wraps it up. So I guess I'll leave us with the final words, as Coach Frank would say. Remember, work hard, ride fast, have fun, and remember, consistency is the new FTFP. Till next time, see ya.